ain't gon' sell itself. All this
particularly 21 Savage. 21 Savage has been all over the internet ever since his Drake album dropped. And I don't know, his nuts dropped too. So he's dropping his nuts on niggas too. All right. So 21 Savage basically said that, for one, he said that he can beat anybody in the freshman class.
Right.
All right. In the verses.
Mm-hmm.
I find that hard to believe. 21 Savage does have some hits, but not to the degree that you can beat Kodak Black. All right, now I'm Haitian. Now I'm not being biased. I'm just being honest with you. Kodak Black has a lot of hits. A lot of hits.
Of course, my brother. Last week, I still stand behind what I said. I said this last Friday. I say this Friday. What is this man smoking on, man? 21, he's nice. He's everything. But just like you said, I think Drake gave him an extra testosterone boost when they dropped that product together. You know what I'm saying? And he actually feels like because I actually listened to the product now, and you see how you mentioned the album, Drake and 21 had an album?
Facts.
That's how it sounds. It actually sounds like Drake is carrying 21 on this album. If it was a percentage-wise of this album, I would say it's 80% Drake, 20% 21 Savage on this album. That's my personal opinion.
Okay, so when I'm looking, we spoke about the album last week, but a lot of people are saying, to your sentiments, they agree with you, right? They're saying that the consensus is that it's a Drake album per se, and 21 Savage just along for the ride. All right,
That's
and
it.
Drake is getting all the accolades for this album. You know,
of course,
to the point where he might seemingly be overshadowing 21 Savage.
It's
slightly.
It's not even. It's what's being done. He is overshadowing him. He's overshadowing him because this man, literally, Drake is driving the car. 21 is in the baby seat. He's not even in the back seat. He's in the car seat. He's in the baby seat, watching this man do what he does best and trying to learn and see how he could captivate that wave, how this man Drake captivates that wave. But he's never going to be able to do that because he's only 21. He's only 21, man. Drake is Drake, man.
Facts. 21's getting a little bit too big for his britches, if you ask me. A little bit too big for his britches.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
He spoke about. Go ahead. Sorry about that, brother.
No, I need some crickets out there on that man. 21, man. You know?
Okay.
Yeah, I need that right there, man.
Okay, my bad. You know, you want the crickets.
I need the crickets,
not the hand claps, but the crickets.
I need the crickets for that, man, because he tripping, fool. Because ain't nobody gonna believe that right now. Well, my personal opinion. Don't shoot the messenger. That's my personal opinion.
That was very appropriate. Very appropriate. He definitely need the crickets for that. He didn't need no applause for that. I apologize about that. Right? That was an error. He needed the crickets. This is what 21 Savage needs. All right, facts though, because when he speaks about certain people, he's just like I told you right now. 21 Savage is dropping his nuts on people, all right, so to speak. Now, 21 also said that he called Nas irrelevant. The man called Nas irrelevant, and that was the straw that broke the camel's back, if you ask me. Let's chime in on that. All right, so people calling Nas irrelevant. Well, 21 Savage to be specific, calling Nas irrelevant. Now, the whole thing with Nas, you know, Nas is timeless at this point. His music is timeless at this point. Nas is not a trending rapper per se because he solidified himself. Most trending rappers, they're just hot for the moment, all right? Eventually, you want to come out of that trending. Trending's cool, but you're just hot for the moment. And those fans that like trending stuff, they just like what's in for the moment. That doesn't necessarily mean that your music has substance. That doesn't necessarily mean that your music's gonna last the test of times. You're just trending. You might just be the topic of discussion for the day, right?
Exactly.
And then guess what? You start to cool down. All right. And Nas is definitely not in that category. Nas has a core following. So Nas is definitely gonna be relevant, and he's proven that. And if anything, Nas is one of the most relevant rappers out of all rappers, to be honest with you. Nas has to be the top 5 most relevant rappers. Right, that's not in the trending category.
That ever touched the microphone. He's at legendary status. He's not hot boy. He's not a hot rapper. He's a legendary rapper. You can't compare hotness to legends. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Just like you said, what's hot is hot. What's legend is gonna be here forever. We're gonna be talking about this, man. If we was to write a Bible about hip hop, we're gonna have a passage on Nas. We're not gonna have a passage on 21.
That part.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just keeping it logical.
And be honest with you, you know, 21 to 21 Savage defense, right? All right, 21, you dropping your nuts, and I could see that you're doing numbers right now, and you're not a weak artist at all. I rock with 21. To be honest with you, he's another one of my favorite artists. I like 21.
A good artist, but when you go against, that's just like a father going against a son. That a son going against a father that never disrespected him at all, and he's calling out his father and saying, "You know what, Dad? You have never been a great dad to me." And you're looking at like, what? Why today you want to come and do this? That's how I feel that he came to Nas with that, because Nas is a father of hip hop, and you come and disrespecting a father by saying something he's irrelevant. But I heard recently that he had to backtrack those statements to an extent. You know what I'm saying? So why even bring them out in the first place? Don't say something that you're gonna have to backtrack later. Stand up for your words. You're so much of what you are. Be who you is, man.
Yeah, he definitely had to backtrack. 21 definitely had to backtrack. 21 said people are taking his words and they misusing his words, right? But at the same time, you gotta remember the magnitude of an artist that you are. Your voice is amplified, homie.
It's
so
heard.
You can't just say certain things and just think that you're not going to be held accountable for what you're saying.
Exactly.
All right? Speaking about Nas, that's a landmine. I wouldn't recommend too many people to speak on Nas' behalf unless you're saying something good, right? Because his track record exceeds himself. Nas is probably the most unanimous artist with the best track records.
Right.
Now, some people like to say Nas don't know how to choose beats. That's a whole different subject in itself. Right, in comparison to music quality, but in reference to lyrics, in reference to relativity, how relevant he is,
it's dangerous.
Nah, man, unanimous,
very dangerous, very dangerous MC right there. That man held his. You got to look at a rapper who held his own with kings in the game. This man held his own with Nas. Nas held his own with Tupac, Biggie, and Jay-Z. The founding fathers that they say are the founding fathers of this hip hop game. We know there are other characters that led to hip hop being the greatness of what it is today. But those three other than Nas, that he went up and he's still here to stand and challenge, to have these little kids, because they're kids. That man was probably that man was probably still in his nutsack when Nas dropped Ether and all these hot records and all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So now for him to come and be like, come on, man, you make a little money in this game. It's the only reason you feel like that right now.
That part.
Rappers is making the money that rappers wasn't making back then. So you feel you could disrespect rappers now. I mean, from back then. You know what I'm saying? That's their problem. Go ahead.
I agree with you 100%. So now Kodak Black time then.
Oh yeah.
Kodak Black. Now, this is what 21 Savage said. Now, 21 Savage, he's stepping in shit at this point. 21 Savage said, so you know Kodak said, remember we talked about that last week when Kodak had all the caps on his head, talking about that's big cap, talking about you could beat me, right? Kodak also, 21 Savage responded to the fans. Now, you know they flooding his comment section. You know his comment section is looking colorful at this point, right? They're flooding the comment section. They're saying, you tripping, basically, and I agree with that. But he responded to his whole comment section. 21 Savage said, where was you guys at when it's time to buy those albums? So obviously he's talking about Kodak Black.
Right.
Now, Kodak responded to that. Kodak basically said he didn't appreciate that, because Kodak Black said throughout his whole career he had hiccups throughout his whole career, unlike other rappers. Now we know Kodak Black went to jail and all that. Before Kodak went to jail, keep in mind he had the game on smash lock. All right, and cats wasn't able to breathe so much. But when he went to jail, that gave other people opportunity to come up out the water, right? So with that being said, Kodak Black is saying he didn't appreciate that because, you know, he had hiccups in his career as opposed to other artists. And these other artists don't have no excuses, because last time I checked, 21 Savage hasn't done no time since he's been an artist. though he is catching charges. To his defense, he's caught some charges, but he hasn't caught no break. He hasn't had no break where he hasn't been able to put out an album or nothing of that nature. So at the end of the day, Kodak Black, all credit due to Kodak Black. Kodak Black, all credit due to Zoe. Zoe went to jail, came back out, and then he put the game right back in the headlock.
And he still put out. That's the difference. That's the beautiful part of Kodak. What I want people to respect too. People thinking it's the gangsterisms of what people respect about him. No, that man had his time. He was took away from the game, came back into the game, and still dropped hot and relevant product.
Facts.
That's the beauty of that man. Y'all literally sitting around trying to copy off the next man. That man in his cell literally putting together his next project. While y'all sitting around, y'all have the luxury of shoulder to shoulder. Let me go meet up with this artist. Let me go see this producer. Let me go see this man. While that man was locked down, thinking about, oh yeah, I know it. I know what I'm finna do to this game when I get home. That's a bigger brain and that's a bigger strength. You know what I'm saying? Shouts out to Kodak Black, man. And like you say, shouts out to 21, man. You put out
shouts out 21, music, but definitely
good music, but right
shots,
now you tripping.
Tripping, but definitely shots was fired. Definitely shots was fired. 21 letting off shots right now. And Kodak Black busting back too. Let's hit the comment section for a quick